Lately, I finally had time to sit down and play Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I've been blown away by how good the game looks and feels. In every corner of this game that you look, you can tell it was made with the utmost attention to detail, and a sheer love for the source material, even if this new game varies quite a bit from the original. And with Capcom rumored to be working on a remake of Resident Evil 3 next, they seem to be determined to bring all their mainline titles in the HD glory. With regards to Final Fantasy, a series with large, sprawling worlds that are very detailed, remaking even one older Final Fantasy is a massive undertaking, so to remake all the golden era Final Fantasies would be an extremely ambitious task, and it seems that director of both Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, as well as producer of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Yoshinori Kitase, seems to have those exact ambitions. In an interview with popular Japanese gaming publication Famitsu, Kitase was bluntly asked, "What about Final Fantasy VIII Remake?" In response to this, Yoshinori Kitase gave quite an interesting answer, saying, quote, "If the youth that inherits the genes of Final Fantasy can step up and do it, then I'd like to see it made. For Final Fantasy VII Remake, the project started from my desire to make Final Fantasy VII with today's technology, while I'm still here at Square Enix. So I'd like to see Final Fantasy VIII Remake done by the youth of Square Enix." This is a fairly nuanced statement here, and depending on how you read it, it can be somewhat ambiguous. In one light, it almost seems like Kitase could potentially leave Square, although as long as he's been there, I don't think that's the case. In another light, it seems like he doesn't plan to be nearly as involved with a remake of Final Fantasy VIII as he currently is with FF7's. And let's just be honest here, I cannot blame him. Final Fantasy VII Remake started development in 2014, a year before its announcement in 2015, and the first game in the series will be launching March 2020. Even if they managed to finish the series as a trilogy, launching them 2 years apart from each other, it would still be 2024 before the entire series is complete, taking a grand total of 10 years. And that's assuming everything goes smoothly without delays, and they don't exceed anything more than 3 games, which is still entirely possible that they will. That is an extremely long time, especially to be working on a remake of a game. Even more so when you consider that the original game was developed in just a little over a year's time. And Kitase has mentioned before that part of his motivation for doing this remake now is because him and the original staff for the game are getting older, with the youngest person from the original staff being Tetsuya Nomura, the current director of Final Fantasy VII Remake, who just turned 49 earlier this week. So you can really see the pressure to go ahead and remake these games now, and for the youth to be able to make these games without as much need from the original staff. So when he mentions the youth inheriting the genes of Final Fantasy, let's hope they really do. One of the most effective things done for both Resident Evil 2 Remake and seemingly Final Fantasy VII Remake has been hiring people who were fans of the original game growing up. It's not only that this passion translates back into the game, but in many ways, it's sometimes even better than just having the original team, as passionate fans have been able to fundamentally understand what makes these games good, sometimes in ways that even the creators miss. And in fact, the mods for Final Fantasy VII and VIII show just how passionate that community is, and in many cases that they're willing to go much further than anyone else with these titles. With that being said, remaking Final Fantasy VIII would be quite a challenge, although I feel like it would benefit from a remake even more than 7 would. Unlike Final Fantasy VII, which is regarded by a number of people to be nearly flawless in its execution, Final Fantasy VIII has not been fortunate enough to receive such praise over the years. While the game did have a lot of revolutionary elements and mechanics for the series, like seeing your party follow behind you, triple triad, the iconic gunblade, things such as the game's junction system and having to draw magic are heavily criticized. And to be fair, I don't know too many people who like to sit there and draw magic all day. Seeing overhauls to these systems would indeed be beneficial to the game, and I would welcome it with open arms. But with all that being said, Ultimate Weapons, do you want to see Final Fantasy VIII Remake come to life? And if so, what type of changes would you like to see in it? Or are you just upset that Kitase seems to have skipped over Final Fantasy VI? Subscribe, click the bell icon, and let me know in the comments below. And if you've been enjoying my content, be sure to check out the Patreon for the Night Sky Prince. Great people like Alfred Dominguez directly support the channel and help me keep making all these Final Fantasy videos. So if this channel is something that you value, be sure to check that out in the description below. Shout out to Alfred and the rest of the Ultima community.
My last night here with you. Maybe yes, maybe shine.